Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 718. I'm Salvatore Casio, coming back after a long break from you guys.
It's been a long time, but we're happy to be back. We had a lot going on with the fall, coming back to school and everything, but we're hoping to make it more consistent from
hmm
now on.
Well, yeah, this is our first ever in-person episode, and we're finally glad we could do that, and hope you guys enjoy it. So our first topic, the MLB. Steve Cohen has bought the Mets. Finally, we said this earlier. At least I said this earlier. I was highly anticipating this to happen for the Mets, and now I could not be happier that it's here. This is honestly one of the best days of my life as a Mets fan.
I don't think it will change much, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think that spending money was ever the problem for the Wilpons. They've been top half in payroll the past 12 years, I believe. It's about spending money well, and I think Steve Cohen. I think all he's saying all the right things, but I think coming in as your first year as an owner, gonna have to say all the right things. I'm not convinced that the Mets are gonna have this giant free agency summer that a lot of Mets fans are anticipating, and I'm not sure that even if they do, that it will continue beyond this year.
It's just the thing I like about Steve Cohen is just that he's very like energetic. Like I see on Twitter, like I follow him on Twitter, and he's like responding to the fans about like literally anything. Like, oh, could you make the 10-game season ticket plan a thing? Yeah, we'll look into that. We'll look into that. And it's just nice that you have like it's almost like you have a fan running it, which
Yeah, no,
I like.
no, I think that's definitely important. I think like if you have that level of like community interaction, I feel like you feel closer to the team. Like if you feel like Steve Cohen is a fan of the Mets, and you'll feel like he is the team's best interest in mind. And I think that was definitely something that a lot of people did not feel was true about the Wilpons.
Yeah, but never in my life would I think, at least from the free agency perspective, would I think that the Mets would be in talks with certain people like Trevor Bauer, like Lindor, like that did not happen under the Wilpons. Like, yes, I know we were a top half in payroll and even top five in certain years, but like for us to be like linked to these big name superstars, it's like a change of culture for the Mets, honestly.
Yeah. And then, are you mad about DeGrom not winning the NL Cy Young?
No, I kind of anticipated it after he had a rough last start. I think he gave up like a few runs, and like I feel like that was just like the turning point where a lot of people knew it was at that point it was between Darvish and Bauer. I mean I'm kind of upset because not to make any predictions, but it was a 60-game season, and who knows what would happen down the race. Do you think that Bauer deserved it?
I would have given it to Darvish, and I said that a couple months earlier on the show. I thought that Darvish deserved the Cy Young, and I think I probably would have picked DeGrom over Bauer, but I can't say that Bauer wasn't deserving. He had an excellent season.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're talking about the AL Cy Young. I don't think there's going to be any dispute that Shane
No,
Bieber
there is no question that Shane Bieber deserved it.
I saw some people on Twitter trying to discredit him after that bad start against the Yankees in the first playoff game, which granted was a bad start, but it's a one start in a long baseball season, and he was by far the most deserving pitcher.
He was dominant in all the games that I watched him play. There is no one else that was more deserving of the Cy Young than him. And honestly, I think he was the best pitcher in baseball.
No, I agree with you.
I
agree with you. I think he was. I think this year he was head and shoulders beyond the competition in both leagues.
So AL and NL MVP. Freddie Freeman won the NL MVP. Jose Abreu won the AL MVP. Do you think any of those are undeserving?
Again, I won't go undeserving. I was surprised to see Freddie Freeman win it. I thought it would be Mookie Betts, especially after winning the championship. I know that a lot of writers claim that like the playoffs don't influence their choices, but like I don't know. I thought it'd be Mookie. But Freddie Freeman had a great season coming back from COVID. I can't really fault the choice, and I think that Jose Abreu was entirely deserving. I think, yeah.
Yeah, Jose Abreu in my mind was no doubt MVP. Freddie Freeman, I agree with you. I think Betts was definitely in the running there, but I feel like just from like a journalistic standpoint, like Freddie Freeman coming back from COVID, like he was severely ill. Just like for him to put up those numbers afterwards and just be like, he's a very personable guy in the MLB. Like it's just as a fan, I was happy to see him win. Undeniably though, Mookie Betts had a great postseason.
Fabulous postseason.
Great postseason. He's everywhere. He's a 5-tool player, and like the Dodgers are really lucky that they have him.
Yeah, he's a great player. I'm happy he's not in the AL East anymore. I don't miss having to face him.
Yeah, but there's other people on the market now, like potentially that the Yankees or Mets could even get. Like maybe like George Springer. I know I personally wouldn't compare him to Mookie Betts.
No, I don't think. But I think like for what the Mets need, I think George Springer would be an excellent signing, and I actually think it's a piece of business that they will get done. Like, I don't see Lindor coming to the Mets, but I think a guy like Springer is completely doable, and he fills the center field role that you've been calling out for years now.
Yeah, I feel like if we were to get Springer, we would probably have to move on from Nimmo. I mean, undeniably, I would.
Yeah, I think that's something you have to do.
But
it comes with it.
I think if I'm Steve Cohen and Sandy Alderson this year, I would probably look for someone in the bullpen, maybe like Liam Hendricks, Josh Hader, probably not, but
I mean, Josh Hader is available.
he's definitely available. And I mean, a lot of Mets fans are calling for Bauer, and Bauer's been very, very active on social media. His agents reached out to Steve Cohen, and personally, like, I don't think we need him as much as we need other positions like center fielder or catcher for that matter. So I'd rather them spend their money as on catcher. Real Muto, I would want to sign Real Muto this offseason.
I don't think he leaves Philly. I think he talks a lot on Twitter and in press conferences about how much he loves the city and how much he loves playing for the Phillies. I think it would take a real miss by the Phillies organization to not bring him in because he wants to be there.
Yeah.
I think like it is his priority. They would have to really undervalue him for that not to work.
But do you think that Real Muto's asking for $200 million? Do you think the Phillies are going to want to pay that money?
I think it will be close to that, but I think it'll be a little bit under, and I think he'll take it. Because is anyone going to give him $200 million?
I mean,
do you think he's worth that?
No, I do not think that Real Muto is worth $200 million. As much as I'd love for the Mets to get him, I do not think he's worth that.
Neither do I.
And I mean,
I think he's a very good catcher. But no.
If the Mets pull that trigger, the Mets pull that trigger. But honestly, another thing too is that Robinson Cano. Now the Mets have an extra $24 million.
That's so lucky.
Listen, Robinson Cano, he's a great career player all time. But for us, I honestly think that when Brody Van Wagenen made that trade for Jared Kelenic, and we got Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano, that was the most abysmal trade. And I think Robinson Cano getting busted for the second time in 3 years on a PED violation just sums up how bad that trade was.
I think it definitely does. And I think, like, on paper in the time, like, Edwin Diaz, like, I thought it was a very good addition. I was worried.
Oh, yeah. He's 53 saves that year.
He's my favorite Met.
Yeah.
My favorite Met.
Yeah. 53 saves. I mean, this season he had a little bit of a bounce back year.
Yeah, no, he was solid this season.
He was solid.
I remember early on in the season, I watched him against the Braves blow save, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're in for it again. But
yeah.
It never like.
Yeah, I remember.
He was able to steady the ship.
Yeah, Marcelo Ozuna had his number in that game. I guess onto the NBA draft. The Knicks with the 8th pick took Obi Toppin.
I think it's a very good pick. I know a lot of people are concerned about his age, considering that he's a multi-year college player and that he's not exactly like the flashy shot creating guard that I think a lot of people think that a lot of people thought the Knicks needed. But I think he's a really good player, and I think he might be ready to contribute now for a young core. What do you think about that?
I think Obi Toppin was the right pick. I feel like I heard a lot of controversy over the pick though. A lot of controversy. Like Stephen A. Smith, for example, like I kind of agree with him. I think we needed to go in the direction of a guard, but Obi Toppin is undeniable talent.
Absolutely,
no question. And I do think it was a good pick by the Knicks organization.
I do worry about him in Tom Thibodeau's system because he's not much of a defender. But I think if you need to become a more complete player, what better coach than Thibodeau? What better coach than Thibodeau to like instill that in him? So I think that might work out. The one that I'm not so sure about is trading 23 back and then taking Emmanuel quickly. I would have taken R.J. Hampton at 23, and that would have solved the guard. We passed on him, and he went the pick after.
Yeah, that was an interesting pick because we drafted the player at 23rd, right? And then it was draft, and we moved back with it. Yeah, I agree with you there.
I think that the Knicks were banking on him being there 4 picks after, and it just didn't work out that way.
So, but does the Knicks not taking a guard there lead you to think that Russell Westbrook could be in the Knicks system this season?
No. I think if a Russell Westbrook trade was going to happen, which I'm not in favor of, I think it'd be a bad move, and I think that you get Russell Westbrook and you try to fast track a team that's not ready to win, and then you're just competing for 8-7 seeds, and like, what's the point? Like, I think the Knicks need to stop looking for a shortcut in building, and they need to build the right way through the draft, young players. Don't spend too much on overpriced old free agents. And you got to stop trying to be the Knicks and hit big. Just try to the long game. Play the long game.
Yeah.
I don't think the Russell Westbrook, but I think that was going to happen. It would have been before the draft because we made these picks. We made these picks for our team.
Yeah.
Not for the Rockets.
Yeah.
So I think it would have had to involve draft capital from this year, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Which I'm fine with.
Do you think it's possible for Harden to go to the Nets?
No, I wouldn't do it for the Nets. I think that I don't think the third superstar. I think we proved that last year. I don't think you need a third superstar. I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving with the supporting cast are more than enough. And I think giving up a guy like Karis LeVert.
Yeah, they have a good lineup. They have Dinwiddie, LeVert.
It would have to involve giving up Dinwiddie and LeVert and draft picks and maybe Jared Allen. I wouldn't do it.
I completely agree.
But I think that the Nets will do it.
You think it'll happen?
I think that it will happen.
I
think he will go to Philadelphia or Brooklyn. I think Philadelphia is a better fit, personally.
You do think it's a better fit?
Yes, because I think around Ben Simmons, you need guys who can shoot.
That's true.
If you can get a ball handler who can shoot, I think Ben Simmons and James Harden would be a very fun backcourt to watch.
That is.
But I think Brooklyn are so desperate for fans. They think that just get more big names and more who will want to be a Nets fan.
Yeah,
because the Nets struggle with fan attendance in person.
That is true, and that would be really good for I guess the little brother team in the NBA to
have a big three, like a superstar.
That'd be very entertaining for New York sports.
I wouldn't do it if I were the Nets, but I think James Harden goes to Philadelphia or Brooklyn. But I think I'd rather see him in Philadelphia.
Yeah, definitely. Trevor. Do you think that Trevor's gonna hold out?
As much as I want him to stay at Clemson another year, I think he comes out. I don't think that everything that I've heard and that I think I know about Trevor Lawrence as a guy. I don't think he looks at the challenge of the Jets and hides away at Clemson another year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it would be so obviously deliberate. I think he sees himself as the kind of person, the kind of character to turn around an organization like that.
Yeah.
I think he comes out.
And one of the reasons I'm a Jets fan. So why wouldn't you want to play in New York? I get it. There's a big spotlight, but a guy like Trevor Lawrence, he's always in the spotlight. What difference does it make?
He's been spotlighted his whole high school career, all of college. I think.
And then another thing too is say he stays at Clemson another year and gets a detrimental injury. Why wouldn't you just take the guaranteed money in the NFL? At least some sort of guaranteed money. You're playing for the Jets. I feel like the Jets have Denzel Mims, Rashad Perryman. We lost Le'Veon Bell, but we're gonna gut this entire team for Trevor Lawrence. If he comes.
If I were the Jets organization, I would be in contact with them right now. They're saying, if we have the first pick, we're gonna take you. Come find the head coach that you like, and we're gonna build it for you. Because then he will have. Who do you think the next Jets coach is going to be? Assuming, I think we're all agreeing that Adam Gase will be fired at the end of the season.
The only reason I'm happy that the Jets haven't fired Adam Gase yet is because we still haven't won a game. So I think he's definitely gone next year. Personally, I could see Jason Garrett stepping out of the offensive coordinator role.
I hope not.
And coming to the Jets.
I hope not. I've been a huge fan of what he's been doing with the Giants. I think he's called some brilliant games for the Giants. And I don't think we have the talent to execute his game plan. But I've been so happy with him. But I think he'd be a good head coach for the Jets. I really do.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it'd be a good fit.
If the Jets were to get Jason Garrett, I feel like Jason Garrett. I don't want to say he got Dak to where he is now.
He did.
Dak's one of the faces of the NFL and playing really well before he got injured. So
which is a shame. So
yeah, hopefully he gets better. Do the Giants have a chance at the postseason?
The Giants are going to win the division. I'm very confident of that now. I think that we deserve to be a winning team. I think we play really good football. We play good defense, and when we don't turn the ball over and we don't beat ourselves, we put ourselves in positions to win the game. I have the schedules written down. I'm assuming that the NFC East is going to be between the Eagles and the Giants because I don't think that the football team had enough. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not a huge. I know Alex Smith threw for 400 yards, but
he didn't even have a touchdown.
I know. I just don't see that I don't see them being able to sustain it.
Yeah, and you watch the end of that game. They're playing against the Lions, and they're getting carried by like stupid penalties. At the end.
I'm not even considering that a factor. But the Giants have after their bye, the Bengals, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Cowboys. I think they can win 4 of those games.
You really think so?
I think they can. I think they can beat the Bengals. I think they can beat the Seahawks. I'm not sure they will, but I think they can. I think they'll beat the Browns. I think they'll beat Dallas. And they could even beat the Ravens. The only team I do not think there is a chance is against the Cardinals.
The Seahawks just beat the Cardinals. What makes you think that they have a better chance?
I think the Cardinals are a more balanced football team, and I think that we don't have a weakness to exploit. We're just not as talented as them. I think that the Seahawks, their defense actually played very well last night, but that's the first time.
Yeah,
that's the first time their defense has been able to shut down. Anybody. So I think the Giants defense in the secondary, and they could have a similar Rams type performance against Russell Wilson. It's just about can we score on them.
Yeah, I think if you're telling me that I have the option to take Russell Wilson and his Seahawks with DK and Tyler Lockett over Daniel Jones with Slayton, Shepard, and Ingram, I'd take.
I don't know.
I'd take the Seahawks any day of the week.
I think the Giants can do it.
And twice on Sunday.
But
in order for the Giants to make the playoffs, they have to beat a lot of over 500 teams, and under Dave Gettleman, they've only beaten a 500 team once.
Yes, as you love to remind me.
Yes,
but if you look at the Eagles' schedule, they have the Browns, the Packers, the Saints, the Cardinals, Dallas, and Washington. I don't think they beat the Saints. I don't think they beat the Packers. I don't think they beat the Browns. I think Giants are better than the Eagles. If you haven't picked up on it yet,
I do think that the Giants. I guess
I'm not a fan of Carson Wentz. So
yeah, neither am I.
He's very good.
I think the Eagles actually might have a shot this week against the Browns. Not gonna lie.
I think the Browns.
Myles Garrett's out. Never know.
I think the Browns. I think the Browns need. I think the Browns need this win. I just don't I'm a big fan of Miles Sanders. I think he's a very good. I think he's a very good running back. But I just don't think Carson Wentz can win games. I just don't. I don't see it happening. I think the Packers and the Saints will beat them, and the Cardinals will beat them. I think Washington could beat them on the last game of the season. I think Ron Rivera is a good coach. I just don't think the team is very talented.
Yeah.
But I could see last week of the season, Ron Rivera getting his guys to show up for that.
I wouldn't sleep on the football team either. Honestly, they have Alex Smith. Terry McLaurin is very underrated.
Terry McLaurin is very, but he can't carry the team. Someone has to get on the ball.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
A third string in a losing team. He was a first round pick.
Yeah.
Not even 2 years ago. And I know he's incredibly, he can't move out of the pocket, but is he that bad? Is he really that bad?
I mean, he had a similar 40 time to Vince Wilfork, and it was off by 600ths of a second.
He did.
To put that into perspective, that's pretty abysmal.
No, that's embarrassing. How I don't know. I just can't imagine that he's that bad. Because I don't think Kyle Allen is anything special. And Kyle Allen walked in and as the starter. I don't see how that happened.
Do you think that the Jets are going to be due for an 0-16 season?
No, I think they get a win and they lose out to the Jaguars for the first pick.
You actually believe that that's going to happen? I think that's very unlikely. Very unlikely.
I would.
As a Jets fan, I root for them to lose every single week. I get happy if they win, but they haven't won yet. But I would get happy if they won. But at the same time, the Bills game was a little too close for me, and I was like, throw the game out of these, please.
You think that's what he's doing? You think he's doing it for the good of the franchise?
I hope so. If Adam
he might as well be.
If Adam Gase leads us to an 0-16 season, I'd consider that a successful season for Adam Gase and the Jets.
I'd rather be 0-16 than 3-13.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You're still awful.
That's that's the thing with the Giants. I feel like there's a lot of debate on whether or not where they should be valued right now. Because if you guys don't make the playoffs, this is a waste of a season.
It is a waste of a season because we're in the middle again.
Yeah.
But only I would love if we could get to 6 wins and make the playoffs, I'd be overjoyed.
Yeah.
I'd be overjoyed.
Yeah. I it's the same situation where the Jets were last. The Jets finished 7-9 last season and they had the 11th pick, and now we are the worst team in football.
Worst team in football.
The worst team in football. So I hope the Giants don't go down a path like that. But
No.
I don't think they're anywhere near as bad as the Jets are.
No, I really believe in what I think that Dave. I was a big Dave Gettleman critic because I felt like him and Pat Shermer had completely different visions for the team. But I actually think that Joe Judge. I think Joe Judge has a plan. I think we see his plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think we see his plan already.
I really like Joe Judge.
I think he's a very good coach.
He's a no nonsense guy, and I
his-
think he's exactly what the
and
Giants
his players play for him.
Mm-hmm.
The players buy into what he tells them,
Absolutely.
and they believe that he can lead them to win, and I think that's so important. I'm not sure that Giants players ever bought into Shermer. I'm not sure they ever bought into McAdoo. I think they knew it was a little lucky.
Yeah.
What they were doing under McAdoo.
But I mean, Joe Judge coming from the Pats organization, like that means you're a good coach.
No, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, like at least until
Patricia.
Until now, like we really have the first generation of like the Belichick coaching tree that's looking successful. If you look at like Brian Flores, Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, and then Joe Judge.
Yeah.
Previously, you're looking at guys like Bill O'Brien and Matt Patricia, who just weren't very good. But
yeah.
I think that I had a good feeling about Joe Judge because Belichick he called the Maras specifically and said you got to hire this guy. This guy's a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that Belichick would do that if he didn't believe.
Well, I mean, fun fact: Peyton Manning also called the Jets and said that Adam Gase was an offensive guru.
Well,
So
I don't know what he thought.
and we're running halfback draws and screen passes on 3rd down and 14, and it's gotten us absolutely nowhere.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like as running Pat Shermer, we've run the same draw play 3 times and wonder why we're punting.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even fun to watch anymore. But coming into this week, who are your 3 locks for this week in terms of the spread?
The spread, I like the Packers. I was so surprised the Packers were +2 against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of the Colts.
So that would be your absolute lock.
The Packers are beating the Colts this week.
Mm-hmm.
They are. I like the Colts defense a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of Philip Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's past it. I think he's lucky to get that contract. I would rather be starting to go for that.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be anywhere near Philip Rivers. So I have the Packers as a lock. What about you?
I mean, Packers, I'm not going to lie, they're also my top lock of the week. No question. You can't go against Aaron Rodgers this year. Aaron Rodgers is having arguably one of the best seasons he's had in his life.
Absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers already has 26 touchdowns. In 2018 he had 25 touchdowns. So he's going off. And I feel like part of the reason for that is because Jordan Love is there right now. And he's trying to prove to the Packers, he's trying to tell them he's saying, go screw yourself.
Yeah,
much.
how dare you draft a quarterback?
Yeah.
That's not my time. Which I think is ironic because he was Brett Favre's Jordan Love. And I think they were trying to replicate that same thing, but it seems to have lit a fire under him. And,
yeah.
Good for him. I think Jordan Love. I was kind of indifferent with him out of college. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not I
don't know why they picked him. I don't know why they didn't take another offensive weapon for him.
I think it was a waste. I do think it was a waste. But I mean, maybe Jordan Love would be better off for it, learning under Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe he'll be the next Rodgers.
There's not many better mentors than that.
Yeah.
But in addition to the Packers, I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals over the football team.
That's a good pick.
+1.5.
That's a good pick.
I'm a fan of Joe Burrow, fan of T. Higgins, fan of Tyler Boyd. I like what the Bengals are doing. And I'm surprised that the odds aren't giving him a little bit more love.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to take into account for the Bengals defense.
Yeah, the Bengals defense. I mean, they had that good performance against
the Titans.
They gave
up 13, 14 points.
14 points, which is
that was
good,
really outstanding against them. But other than that, they have not had much success.
Other than that, there's not been much positive.
Except for Joe Burrow.
Except for Joe Burrow.
I guess my second pick would have to be the Saints, 3.5-point favorite against the Falcons. The Falcons are serial chokers. They constantly choke, and I think Taysom Hill as a starter is actually going to have a really good week.
I honestly
would be surprised. I don't think they paid him $16 million to just play tight end and be a specialist.
I think that Jameis Winston will get the same amount of pass attempts as Taysom Hill.
I'm just happy I have Taysom Hill in fantasy.
I know.
And
I had the chance to pick him up, and I'm like, no, they're going to start Winston.
Yeah, I am overjoyed by the news that Taysom Hill is starting.
I mean, it's worth it.
It's worth
listening.
If you have him at tight end,
ESPN formats, you can play him at tight end. I think it's worth it.
If you have him
dropped in your league, pick him up.
If you have him at tight end, he is an absolute star. if you're able to put him in a tight end, he's an absolute
Yeah,
star.
that's definitely worth it.
Yeah, even if he doesn't even get that many snaps, it's still worth it.
It's still more than it's still good production out of a tight end.
Who's your like last lock? I guess.
I like the Broncos over the Dolphins.
I completely disagree with you.
I think the Tua is. I'm least confident about this one, but I think the Tua is due for a bad game. Like I don't think that like he's been exceptional. I think I'm a fan of Tua. Don't get me wrong. I think he's been playing well, but I don't think he's been phenomenal and everything. And I think he's due to have a little bit of a fall off game.
You know what? I feel like I agree with you there, but shout out to the Dolphins defense. Honestly,
absolutely,
they've been playing
amazing. I like what the Dolphins are doing, and I don't really like the Dolphins. I just never have, but I like what the Dolphins are doing there. I think Brian Flores is building a winning team. I think he's a very good coach. I'm a fan, but and I'm a fan too, and I think it's gonna pay off in the long run. But I think that they're gonna run into a little speed bump.
Yeah, I honestly 3.5 points against Denver. I'd take it. Denver's defense is okay. I feel like Tua's gonna have another good game. I agree with you. Tua's definitely due for a bad game. I don't think it'll be this week against Drew Lock. Just my opinion. I feel like
I like Drew Lock. I think if he can cut down on turnovers, I think he'll be a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he's like a little bit of a poor man's like Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
But like.
Yeah. And I mean, Tua's been playing well, so I have no reason not to trust him.
No, I can't fault you for that, but I just have a gut feeling that the Broncos are.
So our last topic, when it comes to the MLB season or any outdoor event, I mean, God willing, by football season next year, we'll be able to have fans outside of New York, or at least anywhere. Should there be fans outside in all across the country when it comes to the MLB?
Yeah,
I agree.
I think you can prove there are ways to do it safely. Obviously not full capacity. Like, I know.
Yes,
I know in Miami-Dade they're technically cleared to have 80,000 fans in a stadium, and I'm not by all means condoning that.
Yeah.
But I think you could run it limited capacity in every stadium.
Yeah.
Every ballpark.
Yeah, I agree. As long as there's no risks, you can do it safely. I completely agree, and I think even in the World Series they had limited capacity.
Yeah, it was about 25%.
Yeah, but it just looked like it looked a little too crowded for me, honestly. But I feel like even if you give it to the season ticket holders or just raffle off some tickets, like I feel like it'd be a good incentive, and I feel like you could safely socially distance. And
I don't see any reason why if you're 6 feet apart, why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside.
And I mean, if you could sit in an airplane at full capacity,
yeah,
I don't understand why.
I don't think there's any difference.
Go to a game, and I've been dying to go to a game. And
I was looking into going to see the Giants in Philadelphia, but it was a Thursday night, and the dates just really didn't line up.
Yeah,
and then Washington was just too far. Where I'm like,
yeah,
Philadelphia is like the one like away. It's one of the away stadium that like I genuinely look at every year to go to a Giants game, and it just didn't line up.
Yeah, Baltimore is that one for me. I wanted to go see Baltimore play the Steelers, but like they're even like now, the prices are outrageous. Like you're paying like $400 in the top row.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The teams are compensating for the loss of revenue.
And it's really unfortunate, but I hope we'll see some sense of normalcy when it comes to stadium seating, because I know I'd love to go to a game, and I'm sure all of you guys would love to go see a game soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys.